After that declaration is proclaimed, the war moves into a more relentless and aggressive stage. Military operations, only in their 9th month as the year opens, find a defeat in the making in Canada. An American army, after capturing Montreal, is virtually destroyed at the walls of Quebec City in the last hours of 1775, and its leader, General Richard Montgomery, is killed. At about this time, British naval units raid and burn the town of Norfolk, Virginia, and bombard Falmouth, Portland, Maine, destroying most of that town. Despite these disasters and despite the military actions at Lexington, Concord, and Bunker Hill earlier in 1775, a significant part of the American population remains uncommitted, either to war or independence. Massachusetts affords a major exception. It has been virtually independent since October 1774. But early in 1776 the American mood swiftly changes to one of greater belligerence, and to a more favorable attitude toward independence. The British evacuate Boston in March, and prepare to launch their first major offensive, an attack on New York City. The Continental Army, beginning its second year under the command of General George Washington, spends most of the remainder of the year in an unsuccessful defense of New York City. Finding the effort hopeless, in October, the army abandons the city and the whole surrounding region to the British. The Continental Army retreats westward across New Jersey, and crosses the Delaware River into eastern Pennsylvania. Late in the year some hope is rekindled by French and Spanish decisions to give some aid to the American cause. But the condition of the Continental Army continues to deteriorate owing to desertions, lack of clothing, and to shortages of food, and munitions, and weapons. By the end of the year the Continental Army consists of only 5,000 poorly equipped troops, many of whom do not even have shoes or rifles. The year ends in a blaze of glory when, on the day after Christmas, the Americans carry out a surprise attack against a British Hessian garrison at Trenton, New Jersey. This action lifts the morale of the American people and helps the army to survive the winter. January 9th. Thomas Paine publishes Common Sense, attacking George III, and presenting the colonists with the first clear and popular statement of their cause. January 24th. Colonel Henry Knox, under Washington's direction, reaches Cambridge, Massachusetts, with 43 cannons and 16 mortars that were captured several months ago by Ethan Allen. The weapons have been hauled overland from Fort Ticonderoga, New York. February 27th. An American force in North Carolina defeats a Loyalist detachment at Moores Creek, near Wilmington. March 4th to 5th. General John Thomas seizes Dorchester Heights overlooking Boston Harbor from the British, thus placing that harbor within the range of Colonel Knox's artillery. March 7th to 17th. The British evacuate Boston and sail for Halifax, Nova Scotia. April 6th. Congress passes a resolution permit ting ports of the colonies to trade with all nations except Great Britain. April 9th. Congress passes a resolution calling for an end to the importation of slaves into the colonies. April 12th. A North Carolina convention empowers its delegates and the Continental Congress to vote for independence. May 1st to July 5th. American forces retreat from Canada after ending their hopeless siege of Quebec. General Benedict Arnold makes his way with part of the depleted forces to Lake Champlain, while the British commander, General Guy Carleton, plans to invade the colonies from the north. May 2nd. $1 million worth of munitions are consigned to the Americans through a secret agent by order of Louis XVI, King of France. May 9th to 16th. Admiral Isaac Hopkins, commanding the 1st Squadron of the United Colonies, raids English naval installations in the Bahamas. He captures the city of Nassau and seizes large stores of military supplies. May 10th. Congress passes a resolution advising all the colonies to form new governments. May 15th. Virginia authorizes its delegation in the Continental Congress to vote for independence. June 1st to 28th. British naval units move against Charlestown, in 1783 renamed Charleston, South Carolina, harbor defenses. Fort Moultrie on Sullivan's Island repulses the attack and in counter-bombardment seriously damages many of the British ships. The British abandon the attack after suffering more than 200 casualties. At the fort 10 men are dead and 21 wounded. June 2nd. General John Sullivan, in charge of the last colonial troops in Canada, unsuccessfully attempts a counterattack and evacuates his forces across the St. Lawrence. June 7th. Richard Henry Lee of Virginia offers a resolution in Congress for a declaration of independence, but the resolution is tabled until a sufficient number of delegates arrive at a firm opinion concerning independence. June 10th. Supplies for the Americans are offered by Charles III, King of Spain, under an arrangement similar to that made by the French. June 11th. A committee to prepare a possible declaration of independence is formed in Congress. Headed by Jefferson, it also includes Robert Livingston, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, and Roger Sherman. The committee selects Jefferson to draft the document. June 12th. The Virginia House of Burgesses becomes the first colonial legislature to adopt a Bill of Rights. June 28th. Jefferson's draft of the Declaration of Independence, with changes proposed by Franklin and Adams, is submitted to Congress. June 29th. Virginia, the first colony to change its form of government pursuant to the resolution adopted by Congress. And on May 10, Congress adopts a new constitution for an independent Commonwealth of Virginia. June 29. General Sir William Howe and his brother Admiral Lord Richard Howe appear in New York Harbor with a huge fleet, including transport ships, signaling the beginning of a full-scale British invasion effort. The appearance of the fleet is no surprise to the Americans. July 2. General Howe, having sailed from Halifax, lands an army of 10,000 men, unopposed, on Staten Island. July 2. 12 of the 13 delegations in Congress, New York abstaining, vote for the principle of independence. July 4. Congress adopts the Jefferson draft of the Declaration of Independence. July 9. The Declaration of Independence, with the concurrence of New York, is proclaimed in Philadelphia. July 12. Admiral Howe arrives with 150 transports carrying reinforcements for Staten Island, bringing the total number of men there to 32,000, including 9,000 German mercenaries. July 20th to 21st. Cherokee Indians attack Eaton's Station, a settlement on the Holston River in western North Carolina. North Carolina troops retaliate against the Indians by wiping out a nearby Cherokee town. August 12, Congress passes a bill to grant free land as bounty to British deserters. August 22 to 25. General Howe moves 20,000 troops from Staten Island across the Narrows to Flatbush, and moves by way of the unguarded Jamaica Pass against General Washington's positions on Brooklyn Heights. August 27 to 28. The Battle of Long Island rages. August 29, Long Island is evacuated by American troops in a quiet nighttime action that surprises the British. September 6. A peace conference on Staten Island fails. Howe demands revocation of the Declaration of Independence, and the Americans refuse. September 12. The lower part of Manhattan Island is evacuated by Washington. September 16. The Battle of Harlem Heights stings the British and delays their advance. September 21. A great fire destroys much of New York City, a town of almost 22,000 inhabitants, after Philadelphia the most populous in the colonies. September 21 to 22. Nathan Hale, an American agent, is captured by the British. The next day Hale is hanged without a trial. His last words are, "I only regret that I have but one life to lose for my country." October 5. British warships force the Hudson River passage between Fort Lee, in New Jersey, and Fort Washington, in New York, weakening Washington's hold on Manhattan Island. October 9. Spanish missionaries found a settlement on the coast of California. Officially named the Mission San Francisco de Asís, it is popularly known as Yerba Buena. In 1849 it becomes San Francisco. The first public reading of the Declaration of Independence. Members of Congress leave Independence Hall. October 11. General Arnold's small flotilla, built to help hold back the British on Lake Champlain, is destroyed in Valcour Bay. General Carleton's 87-gun fleet, manned by experienced sailors, cripples the improvised American fleet, but his plan to invade the colonies from Canada is frustrated. October 18. The Battle of Pell's Point delays the British advance northward out of New York City, and gives the Americans time to withdraw an order. October 23. Washington completes an evacuation northward from Manhattan Island. October 28. The Battle of White Plains inflicts heavy casualties on General Howe, and Washington slips away to the west, forming a new line at North Castle. November 16. Howe captures Fort Washington, but has to use 13,000 troops to do it. November 18. Washington decides to abandon the New York region, and moves across the Hudson River and westward across New Jersey. On December 21 he reaches the Delaware River. December 6 – The British force occupies the naval base of Newport, Rhode Island. December 11. Washington crosses the Delaware into Pennsylvania. December 12 – Congress, fearing a British attack, flees from Philadelphia and meets temporarily in Baltimore. December 13. General Charles Lee is captured at Basking Ridge, New Jersey, by a British patrol. December 21. Silas Deane, Benjamin Franklin, Arthur Lee, and Thomas Jefferson meet in Paris, on authorization from Congress, to borrow money. December 26. Washington carries out a surprise assault on Trenton, New Jersey. His force of 2,400 captures nearly 1,000 Hessians and huge supplies, while losing only 5 men. December 31. George Rogers Clark, in a move to prevent Daniel Boone from organizing Kentucky as a separate state, petitions Virginia for annexation of the settlements threatened by hostile Indians. The area is organized as a county of Virginia. Kentucky County becomes the state of Kentucky in 1792.